Right, here we go. I'm hoping that this very expensive Australian-made microphone, a Rode, it's called Rode. I hope it's working properly because I know the last one I did, the sound quality was pretty rubbish. Anyway, what we're going to do is we are going to do the next episode of the Astrakhan'S Feather, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a recap on here, and it's going to flow through, right? So just bear with it. And there we go. So I'll let you look at that first, and I'll just have a drink of Cooper's beer. I'll tell you a story about this in a sec. I think Cooper's beer is the best beer in the world. I did say some time ago that I was giving it up, losing weight and getting fit. But what happened is I did a story on a bloke in the Adelong area, which is a little town just outside Tumut, 40 kilometres or so away, I suppose. No, it's not. 20 kilometres away. And he lives in a heritage listed building, right? His name's Tim Mack. Good bloke. And he's been bothered by this neon light that they put up over the road at the Citizens Club, Sports and Citizens Club. And quite right too, right? I mean, it's dreadful. It's dreadful. It's flashing until about, well after 9 o'clock at night in the winter. And he says it's giving him migraines and all that. Bloke's from Cheshire originally. He's got a great history. I'm not going to go into it all now. I'll probably do that one day. Anyway, I did a story on it and said, well, I was about to give you a comment there. I didn't put any comment in it at all. It was balanced and fair and accurate journalism, right? I didn't give any comment on it at all. But anyway, he lives in a heritage listed building. It's a heritage town, It's got lovely buildings in the main street. Flashing neon sight over the road. Did that come up in the 19th century? I don't think so. So anyway, I did a story on it. It was quite interesting. Anyway, good thing is I wasn't in this morning for a while, and he popped in and he left me a case of Cooper's Pale Ale. That's 24 bottles. It was really nice of him, actually. But having said that, I'm trying to lose weight and I'm trying to stop drinking alcohol. So anyway, what can you do? You can't leave it to go to waste. Anyway, you'll have seen the roundup now. The what do they call it? Recap. The recap. So what we're going to do now is we are going to go on to the next episode. So Karen's there, and I'm going to tell you about the office she's got, okay? So the inspector's office, which is where she is dominated by a large black desk. Sergeant Mullins told her it was made of red ironbark and wood stronger than steel, he said, which is about right. She tried to move it against the wall near the double sash window that looked out over the car park, but it was too heavy. At the back of the office, a small bedroom included an ensuite and 2 camp beds. Mullins told her Christ had decorated the room himself. She assumed he was joking, but she looked at him and couldn't be sure. A large wood-framed map showing the Currajong and Bone Mountain Police Command sat on a whitewashed wall. The brightly coloured sketch with churches and hills and dales and winding roads, shops and fields with horses made Karen think of Lord of the Rings. Wow, this is beautiful, she'd said on her first day. It was in the past, right? Yes, it is, said Bob Mullins as he gazed at the map and massaged his chin. A bit old now, of course, but still spot on. Here's Richmond. Karen gazed at the drawing at the very bottom left edge of the map, depicting an English-style industrial town from the 19th century, all smoke and darkness and maybe despair. Yes, miss, said Mullins dryly. You'll see it's been made to look like an inferno from hell. Karen glanced at her sergeant. I assume there was a bit of tongue-in-cheek there, Sergeant? Ah, not so much as you'd think. Anyway, you come up from Richmond. Mullins leaned past her and traced the road with a gnarled finger. Only one road in and out of Bone Mountain. That's true, actually. It's a real fire trap, right? If you have a fire up there, there's no other way out, right? Anyway, we'll come back to that one day, but it's true. And he said only one road in and out of Bone Mountain, the way most boners like it. They kind of do, right? First you pass through Tarrant Fields here. Made that one up. Fairly gentle climb at this point. Big acreage out there, lots of money, racehorses, helicopters, kids in private schools, Mullins grunted. It's true, actually. Motorbike going by out there. It's very true. Anyhow, he said, you keep climbing, come into Bone Mountain, a township as we call it, village in your parlance, I reckon. Uh-huh, says Karen. You see we're on what looks like a big ledge. That's why it's pretty flat, even though it's halfway up the mountain. Looks like it's been blasted out, says Karen. I'm just painting the picture here, right? in case you hadn't guessed. It looks like that, but it's natural. Story is, here we go. There was some tree clearing to be done, but basically what's here is what you'd have seen back in colonial days, minus the trees they took out. See here, Mullins used his finger again to trace a winding ribbon of road climbing up out of Bone Mountain. You keep going, you come to the other populated part of the mountain, what we call here Top Notch, sometimes referred to as Toppy, partly on account, I've just added that in actually, because Top Notch, partly on account of the shape of land. Well, there you go. But yes, there is a lot of sarcasm heaped on that too, Miss. Boners who live down here in the township shorten it to Notchy. I think they'd shorten it to Toppy, is what I think, because it's above, right? And Toppy is the name used by the people of Wyalong, which is, if it's true, which is a village 5 kilometres from West Wyalong, right? And Wyalong was reckoned to be the town that was going to be the big town, right? When the mining came to the area, gold mining. But it didn't happen. The town became further down, 5 kilometres down in West Wyalong. But the people in Wyalong, get that right, there's no west in front of it. There's Wyalong and West Wyalong. People in Wyalong, they called it Toppy, right? It's the top, you know, and it's up the top there anyway. Anyway, Karen says, because she's from England, I noticed you folks like to shorten everything you can. Mullins chuffed. We don't waste time and breath, miss. It's true, but it's not always clear what you mean, said Karen. We always know what we mean, miss. See, there's a bit of resistance there, right? Right, she says. Anyhow, only around 1,000... Oh, I've lost it again, sorry, just bear with me. I don't know why I did that again. Just a bit of background music. Oh my god, I've actually gone through more than I thought. Alright, okay, here we go. Yep. Just doing a bit of a recap here, and I am anyway. Okay, here we go. Alright. Karen leaned forward and squinted at the map. I was following a squiggly line, so carefully drawn and coloured it gleamed like real silver thread. That a river down there? Coal River, miss, base of the valley. You'll see here the railway line crosses the river. Go back of the high street and you'll see a little pier. When drought doesn't dry the river out, you can moor a boat. This is totally made up. Totally made up. It's called imagination, okay? Anyway, when drought doesn't dry the river out, you can moor a boat, says Bob, tracing his finger along the river. Any fire gets across here and there'll be trouble in the mountain. You can also reach the coal from the other side where it's pretty flat. There's a picnic area, pretty it is. River's not deep, not unless it's in flood, but the flood can come quite quicker than I can imagine, she says. Yep, this map is great. My son Robert drew it when he was a nipper. Bob brushed the map gently like he used to brush 9-year-old Bobby's cheek when he stepped into the sleeping boy's room last thing at night to give him a kiss on his soft cheek. Even put in our house right here, see, he said, barely more than a whisper now. Did this back when he was just 11. Spent hours on it in the living room floor with his watercolours and pencils. Mullins brushed the corner of the map lightly, fingers trembling. I can see that, said Karen. It really is incredibly detailed. Such a lot of work, and the colour's amazing. She leaned in close to look at the intricately detailed police station. What's Robert up to these days, then? Mullins pulled himself up straight, didn't take his eyes off the map. Bobby is in Afghanistan, he said quietly. Really? In the army? I thought they'd all come home long ago. Oh, Bobby won't be coming home, miss. He'll always be there. Now, I must be getting on. Karen watched Bob Mullins walk away and then said, fuck, to herself. That will do for the moment, all right? That will do. Yeah, join me again and we'll come back to the Astrakhan'S Feather. And yeah, maybe you can see what's one of my favourites. Thank you.